News,
Public service,
entertainment,
music,
information at inspiration para sa bawat kapatid, bawat Pilipino. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko, para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at magpapatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Amiga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing natin katropa sa kapwa ko Pilipino.
Makaraan ng isang linggo ng pagkayod, pagbubuno. Nako, break muna tayo. Huntahang palakasan. Di paano? Bangon na! Power and play na!
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Magandang umaga po mga kapatid. Sabado na naman ng umaga. At kami po ay natutuwang makasama kayo muli dito sa inyong programang kasama nyo po, kakibat nyo po sa tuwing Sabado ng almusal. Ito po ang Power and Play, hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum, Cherry Tigo. It's fun to drive. Chooks to go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. True religion, where passion meets power. Regrow your confidence with Regrow. And of course, we are powered by Smart. Live Smart. Mayong buntag, kaninyo tanan sa ating po mga suki sa Cebu City sa pamamagitan ng Radyo 5 True FM 92.3 of course. Sa inyong pihitan, binabati po natin lahat ng mga nandyan ngayon sa sa Quezon Memorial Circle. Meron tayong malaking event dyan sa Quezon Memorial Circle mga kapatid. Kung gusto nyo pong pumunta dyan, nako meron po tayong mga booths dun po sa Quezon Memorial Circle hanggang alas 6 po yan ng gabi mamaya. Ito po ang relaunching ng 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito po tayo sa totoo. At binabati natin ang ating mga suking nakikinig din or nanonood sa 1PH on Signal TV and of course all over the world sa Facebook Live. Naimbag na bigat kada kayo amin sa ating po mga kasama naman sa Ilocandia of course, and of course mayong aga diyan po naman sa bandang Negros. Binabati rin natin ang mga lahat ng nakikinig po sa Pasig City, Iloilo. Kung saan doon po ginaganap ngayon ang PBA All-Star Weekend. Ako, napakaganda. Napakaganda na nangyayari dyan. At ako po'y natutuwa sapagkat nagbalik na rin after what? 3 taon ba yan? 3 taon na wala ang All-Star Weekend sa PBA. And finally, nakabalik na po muli. At ang maganda dito ay nailabas natin sa mga kababayan natin. Alam niyo po kung kayo nasa Kalakhang, Maynila, hindi nyo na po siguro napapansin masyado itong All-Star Weekend. Pero pag inilabas po niya yan sa mga probinsya, talaga naman pong giliw na giliw ang ating mga kapatid, mga kababayang mahilig sa basketball. Makita lamang ninyo yung mga higanting player natin sa inyong piling talagang yung pong mga ngiti at tuwa na lumalabas, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga kabataan, ay talagang nakakapagtaba ng puso. So, kino-congratulate ko. Marami pong nagsasabi na panis na daw, laos na daw ang All-Star Game. Pero ako po, naniniwala ako na ang All-Star Game, dahil ang PBA po ay isang entertainment vehicle, yan pa rin po ang inaabangan. At talaga naman pong kailangan ng ating mga kababayan. So again, congratulations to the PBA for bringing this to Pasig City in Iloilo. At congratulations na rin sa mga nanalo ng first day ng Skills Challenge and lahat po ng mga side events. Magaganap naman ang ating All-Star Game bukas sa Team Scotty versus Team Japet. Kaya po abangan nyo yan. Pero alam nyo po, maliban sa PBA of course, marami pa ring liga na namamayagpag at namamayani. At yan po ang ating tututukan ngayong araw pong ito. Mamaya po ang ating magiging panauhin ay ang nagpatakbo, ang nagbuo ng East Asia Super League. Yung pong CEO and co-founder nila, si Matt Beyer. Ating pong nakapanayam after their very successful finish ng EASL Champions Week sa Japan. Tatanungin ko rin po kung ano ang magiging parte o role ng PBA at anong mga nakikita niya ang pagbabago na dapat gawin ng PBA para lalo pong lumakas ang ating partisipasyon dyan sa EASL na magsisimula na ng kanilang regular season this year. Mamaya rin po tayo po'y mapalad na makakasama isang PBA legend na ngayon ay nagpapatakbo ng isa na namang liga. Ito po ay ang Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League o yung MPBL. Katatapos lang po ng kanilang preseason tournament at ngayon po ay naghahanda na sila para sa kanilang regular season. Pang-5 season na po ito. Mamaya makakasama natin si Commissioner Kenneth Duremdes ng MPBL. So 2 liga na sa labas ng PBA na dapat naman po ay atin ding tangkilikin. And sa ating pong In the Spotlight, isang up-and-coming athlete, isang kilalang pangalan na ngayon ay nagbibigay ng karangalan na hindi lamang para sa kanyang sarili, kundi para sa kanyang illustrious parents. Walang iba kundi ang UAAP fencing champion, Juliana Gomez, ang ating po makakasama live sa studio. Mamaya po, siya po ipupunta dito para ating makapanayam. So marami tayong pag-uusapan. Stars galore. At simulan na natin mga kapatid dahil marami tayong huntahan ngayong umagang ito. Simulan na natin sa pamamagitan ng Sports Weekly Highlights.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Sa pagbabalik ng PBA All-Star Weekend sa Pasig City, Iloilo, naghari bilang bagong slam dunk king si David Morel ng Converge Fiber Xers. Nakakuha ng 92 total points sa final si Morel at tinapos niya ang contest sa likod ng isang 360 windmill dunk. 1 puntos lang ang lamang ni Morel sa teammate niyang si Tyrus Hill sa finals. Runaway winner naman sa 3-point shootout si Magnolia Hotshots veteran Paul Lee na may 28 points. Malayo dyan ang 21 ni SMB's Marshall Lassiter at 18 ni Wami Chongson ng Terra Firma Jeep. Sa obstacle challenge naman, first-time winner si TNT Tropang Giga forward Dave Marcelo na natinapos ang course sa loob ng 25.3 seconds. Isa sa mga tinalo ni Marcelo, si two-time obstacle challenge champion Bo Belga ng Rain or Shine. Sa NBA, niretiro na ng Los Angeles Lakers ang numero 16 jersey ni Pau Gasol. Katabi ng numero ng Spanish legend ang nauna ng retired numbers ni Kobe Bryant. 6 na seasons naglaro si Gasol para sa Lakers kung saan vital piece siya sa back-to-back titles ng LA noong 2009 at 2010. Sa Japan naman, nagsimula na ang karera ni Kai Soto para sa Hiroshima Dragonflies sa Japan B-League. Pumukol ng 10 points, 2 rebounds at 3 blocks si Soto sa 19 minutes na debut para sa koponan. Yun nga lang kinapos ang Dragonfly sa first game ni Soto kontra Ryukyu Golden Kings 86-78. Binangko naman ng Kings si Carl Tamayo kaya hindi natuloy ang inaabangang matchup ng mga Pinoy Towers. Balita naman sa isa sa mga legend ng Philippine martial arts. Umalis na sa Team Lakay si dating one champion Edward Folayang. 16 na taon lumaban sa ilalim ng maalamat na Team Lakay si Folayang bago ang anunsyo niya nitong Biyernes. Nagpasalamat siya sa Team Lakay at kay Coach Mark Sangyao. Wala pang detalye kung ano ang magiging susunod na hakbang ni The Landslide. At sa volleyball, nananatili at nag-iisa na lang ang Lasal Lady Spikers na unbeaten squad sa UAAP Season 85. Huling biktima ng Lady Spikers ang UE Lady Warriors na tinalo nila sa straight sets. Nauna nang tinalo ng solo First Lady Spikers ang UST, UP at Karibal na Ateneo. At yan po ang buod ng ating mga balita sa Sports Weekly Highlights. Naku, marami pa pong nangyayari ngayon. Of course, si Kaloy Yulo po ay patuloy na lumalaban dun sa series ng FIG, yung World Gymnastics. At siya po ay nasa finals na naman dun po sa, I believe it is in Baku, Azerbaijan. No? Ito po yung third leg ng Gymnastics World Artistic Championship. Of course, nanalo na po siya ng gold dun sa huli nilang leg dun po sa, I think it was in Doha. At ngayon po ay sila naman ay nasa Azerbaijan. Kaya ipagdasal po natin ang ating kababayang si Kaloy Yulo. Doon naman po sa football, ang ating women's national team nanalo kahapon laban sa Lao. 1-0 doon sa kanilang isang friendly, I believe. No? So ang ating pong Pilipinas ay naghahanda of course sa World Cup ng football, women's football na gaganapin sa New Zealand at sa Australia. Again, ating pong suportahan ang ating mga koponan, lahat po ng mga koponan. Of course, ang ating pong tututukan ngayong linggong ito at marami pong mga kababayan natin sa Iloilo ang nag-aabang na doon sa laban sa PBA All-Star Weekend, yung pong All-Star Game sa wakas nagbabalik kung saan lahat po ng pinakamagagaling na mga players na binoto ng mga fans at ang maglalaro po dyan sa All-Star Weekend na yan. Kaya yan po ang ating pupulsuhan ngayong umagang ito. Napakasimple lamang. Ito pong Pulso ng Bayan, hatid sa inyo ng Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Simpleng-simple lang po. Sa PBA All-Star Weekend, sino sa tingin nyo ang mananalo? O kaninong team kaya ang mananalo? Kay Team Japet Aguilar, o kay Team Scotty? Kasi ginaya po ng PBA yung pong NBA style na nagpilian po ang dalawang pinakamataas na kakuha ng boto mula sa fans. Again, yan po sa PBA All-Star Weekend sa Pasig City. Kaninong team kaya ang mananalo? Japet o Scotty? Magpadala lang po kayo ng inyong mga kasagutan sa ating Twitter @NoliIyala o di kaya sa ating Facebook page ng Power and Play at ng 1PH. At kami po ipipili ng dalawang, hindi naman kailangan tama, basta maganda at interesanteng sagot. At makakakuha po kayo ng gift certificates mula sa Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Mamaya po i-anunsyo natin yan. Speaking of announcements, isa na namang announcement po mula sa Joyride. Patuloy po ang ating Joyride Top Up promo sa Power and Play. Very, very simple po ang ating patakaran. Just download the latest version of the Joyride Super App. In fact, nandiyan po yung QR code. Scan nyo lang ho yan, makukuha nyo yung latest version. Take a screenshot nung app's home screen. Dapat po nandun yung pangalan ninyo. Ipadala ang screenshot sa aming pong Facebook page sa Power and Play via PM. At isama nyo po ang inyong buong pangalan at registered mobile number sa inyong Joyride account. Kami po ipipili ng 5 mananalo, lucky winners ng 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits. E-wallet credits po to mula sa Joyride na magagamit nyo po for sa inyo pong motorcycle taxi rides, sa aming pong Joyride car at sa delivery ng Joyride. Joyride Super App. naku, napakaganda. Ang dami po nyong magagawa dyan sa aming super app na yan. Again, ang aming top-up promo sa Power and Play. Alright, mga kapatid, ready na tayo sa ating mainit at masayang usapan ngayong Sabado ng umaga. Simulan na natin sa pamamagitan ng Fast Take.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
At ang Fast Take ay hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Tigo. It's fun to drive. At ngayon pong araw na to, ang ating mga kasama, naku, mga suki po natin ito. Of course, from the Philippine Star, si Luisa Morales at ang nagbabalik mula sa spin, walang iba kundi si Kate Reyes. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Women's Month, by the way, sa inyong dalawa.
Happy Women's
Morning,
Month,
Kom.
Kom. Good morning.
Good morning.
Luisa.
Good morning, Kate. Happy Women's Month po.
Nakakatuwa. Of course, ang ating mga producer dito, napakagaling ito si Santi. Alam niyo naman si Santi, si Mike Santillan. Yan ang mga innovation. Ladies, ako, unang-una, of course, it's a fun weekend para sa PBA. Nandiyan sa Pasig City. How significant is this, Luisa, na nakabalik na uli ang ating All-Star Weekend?
Definitely, Kom, it's great, no? Kasi it's a sign of normalcy, no? Ilang taon po natin na miss din itong festivities ito. It's not just giving our players a break, but definitely giving the fans a treat. No, matagal-tagal na rin pong hindi nakalabas ng Metro Manila ang liga natin. And base po dun sa mga nakikita nating pictures and videos po, no, kung paano winelcome ng mga fans sa Iloilo ang ating mga PBA players, ay talaga naman pong enjoy nila and sobrang excited din po sila sa lahat ng mangyayari this weekend.
Talaga nakakatuwa. Of course, Kate, ang isa ring pinagbubunyi natin ngayon, ang pagkapanalo ng ating Pilipinas kahapon, no, against Lao. Again, ano ba ang bali-balita mo around the team? What do you think? How is the preparations of the Filipinas working up towards the FIFA Women's World Cup?
I think, Kom, it has been a jam-packed year na for the Filipinas. It's only March. It's only the third month in the year. Pero sobrang dami na nilang ginagawa. May mga losses, may wins. And I think from all this, may take away to every game. So leading to the World Cup, I think ready na to debut ang Filipinas dyan.
Nakakatuwa. And hopefully talagang magandang maging performance nila. Of course, hindi naman tayo nananaginip, hindi naman tayo hindi nasa realidad. But nagdadasal pa rin tayo na kahit papano makakuha tayo ng milagro dyan sa New Zealand and of course sa Australia. Ladies, bago kayo bitawan, of course, ang ano rin tumatakbo ngayon at madikit ang labanan ay sa NBA. Dahil talaga namang ang playoffs nila ay nasa malapit na. Halos less than 20 games na lang ang mga koponan. And when you talk about the NBA, of course, malapit sa puso ng mga Pilipino ang Los Angeles Lakers. Currently, they are out of the playoffs at 11th spot pero napakadikit ng Western Conference. So, kayong dalawa, over or under? Papasok ang Lakers sa number 9. Over or under? Pag over, mahigit sa 9. Pag under, less than 9. Ikaw muna, Luisa.
Sa tingin ko po, Kom, ay makakapasok naman po tayo under, no? Pero medyo delikado pa sila, I think, sa play-in tournament, no? Kasi medyo malayo po talaga yung hinahabol nila right now. But with the way that they're playing, medyo nakakakuha po sila ng momentum, no? So I think even with the very close fights sa Western Conference, ay makakapasok naman po sila below the 9th spot and makakapunta po doon sa play-in tournament, no? But we'll see. Depende po siguro din sa matchup kung sino ang makakalaban nila for the playoff spot. Kung makikita nga po ba natin talagang Los Angeles Lakers na nakabalik sa playoffs. Especially po with the injury to LeBron James. No? Hopefully ay maging healthy po siya.
Oo. Yes. Alam naman natin, very critical yan. Same question, Kate. Over or under, 9th place or 9th ranking ang LA? What do you think?
Same sentiments with Luisa. Medyo stretch yan Medyo titignan pa natin kung ano yung magiging sequence of events bago natin masabi. Pero agree ako kay Luisa na kung magkaroon man na gumaling si LeBron James in time for that, I think they have a great chance of entering the under.
Wow. Alright. Well, tingnan natin. At marami nag-aabang dyan. Lalong-lalo na si Gino Rufino. Alam ko. Gustong LA fan yan. Talagang maraming fans ang Los Angeles Lakers. Alright, let's go to our issues of the morning dito sa Fast Take. You know the drill. Bato-bato sa langit. Tamaan, wag magagalit. At of course, walang tama, walang mali. Ang opinion nyo ang mahalaga dito sa segment na ito. So, let's begin with the first issue about the All-Star Weekend. And of course, simple question, ano ang takeaway ninyo sa pagbabalik ng PBA All-Star Weekend sa Pasay City, Iloilo? I'll begin with you, Kate. 1 minute. Go!
So, a lot of effort was put in to organize and execute this, from the management, the higher-ups, to the coaches, the players, and even the people covering. It's additional work for everyone, but I think it's a great opportunity to expand PBA's reach and for people far from the metro to rediscover professional basketball again. So, a big part of it is the involvement of the youth. They did an outreach in an elementary school and nakikita namin yung mga videos na pinapadala ng mga nagko-cover doon na ang daming bata, nag-prepare ng mga sayaw, ganun. So, madami nagpapapicture na bata. This means a lot for the kids' dreams. So, in conclusion, I think this is a great effort from the PBA to reconnect with its very purpose, which is to inspire.
Very nice. Very good word, yung reconnect na word. I love that. That's really, I guess, the whole reason para dito sa All-Star Weekend. Luisa, same issue. Ano ang biggest takeaway mo? Hindi lamang doon sa organization, but I guess on the first day sa pagbabalik ng PBA All-Star Weekend. 1 minute, Luisa. Go!
And siguro kung medyo you touched up on it na po, no, na sinasabi nga natin before na ang All-Star Weekend ay hindi na pinapansin, and pati in particular yung PBA, no, minsan sinasabi natin na hindi na ganun ka-popular, no, but I think the main takeaway po na nakikita natin dito sa activities natin sa Iloilo ay talaga namang buhay na buhay pa rin ang pagmamahal ng Pilipino sa PBA, and particularly po sa ating provinces, no, kasi siguro sa atin sa Metro Manila parang araw-araw na natin nakikita. Every week nakakapanood tayo ng laro sa Araneta Coliseum, no? Pero as we can see, nakikita pa rin po natin yung napakalaking impact na itong liga na to. So it's very important then for the players and siguro for the coaches then to see kung ano ba yung nagagawa nila, no, with the way that they're working. Kasi syempre, with the grind, sobrang hirap, sobrang nakakapagod. Pero when you see these players or when you see these kids, these fans na talaga naman ngang mahal na mahal ang liga, talagang mai-inspire ka. So hopefully that's the takeaway for a lot of people.
Excellent point. Alam niyo po, ang PBA lately nakakatanggap ng bati-batikos, kaliwat kanan, ano? Of course, nangyari yun sa EASL. Alam natin po yan. Pero alam niyo po, ako ay pinupuna ko po ang PBA. Hindi po dahil ayaw ko ang PBA, pero mahal ko ang PBA dahil hinawakan ko po ang PBA ng pagkatagal-tagal. And to me, seeing this, again, the kids being happy and the people, tama yun eh. Sa labas po ng Metro Manila, nako, sobra pong giliw na giliw ang mga tao. Hindi lang po dito sa loob ng Metro Manila. Pero mas mahalaga dito sa tingin ko, ladies, yung feeling ng mga player na finally, nakadikit sila uli sa fans. Yung sinasabi ni Kate na reconnecting. Minsan, hindi po natin nakikita yung hirap ng mga player. Sila po ang minsan nangangailangan nitong klaseng break na to na maramdaman nila na mahal sila at yung kanilang pagtatrabaho, paglalaro para sa mga fans. Alright, let's go to our second issue of the morning. Ito, kanina pinag-usapan natin, NBA Los Angeles Lakers. Recently, iniretiro ng LA yung jersey ni Pau Gasol. So, konting another light topic here. Kaninong jersey sa tingin nyo ang dapat i-retire ng mga NBA squads? Kung kayo ang mga GM dyan o kayo si Adam Silver, sino ang pwede nating i-retire na jersey? I'll begin with you, Luisa. 1 minute. Go!
Siguro kung off the top of my head, no, meron po akong dalawang naiisip. Yung una ay hindi masyado sigurong matunog, pero si Andre Iguodala po ng Golden State Warriors. I really believe that he should i-retire po ang kanyang jersey bilang isa sa mga veterans nung nagcha-champion po yung Golden State. Invaluable rin naman po yung naging contribution niya. Kahit naman hindi po siya baba dahil rin siguro sa depth ng bench ng Golden State and sa age niya, malaki pa rin ang naging ambag. Kung naalala rin natin, Finals MVP po siya ng 2015 dahil sa depensa niya kay LeBron James. And yung isa din po, si Dwayne Wade ng Miami Heat. Of
Yun.
course, di naman natin mapagkakaila ang impact niya po dun sa team na yun. Kumbaga, for the longest time, siya po ang face of the franchise. And halos buong career din niya po ay doon siya naglaro, save for a few years sa Cleveland. No? So definitely, pareho po nilang deserve yun. And sa tingin ko naman po, the way the things are going right now, ay in the next couple of years, makikita naman po natin both itong players na to ay makakakita ng jersey retirement.
Wow. I completely agree. Talaga mga legendary names yang binanggit ni Luisa. Kate, same issue. If you were to be asked, kaninong jersey ang dapat i-retire ng mga NBA squads? 1 minute, Kate. Go.
For me, Kom, that's years from now, but it's definitely Derrick Rose.
Wow, Derrick Rose.
So, number 1 jersey by the Chicago Bulls. I would never forget that Bulls Heat rivalry. That was my childhood.
Oh.
And that's where I picked my interest into basketball. So, D. Rose was drafted 2008 and named the Rookie of the Year 2009. And then 2010 to 2011, he was 22, leading the team with a 62-20 record, stepping into the Eastern Conference Finals. But they lost to LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. But D. Rose was named the MVP at that time, and still the youngest ever to this date. So, yun yung impact niya, ganun kalaki yung impact niya, and definitely hindi lang sa franchise, maging sa city mismo. So, I think he's an icon. He's a Hall of Famer sa Chicago Bulls. So I think he deserves it.
Oh yeah, talaga namang very exciting player. Brought the excitement after, of course, Michael Jordan sa Chicago, but injuries caught up with him. Ako dalawa ang aking napili. Ang una kong gustong iretiro is Vince Carter. Vince Carter ng Toronto Raptors. Of course, he did not win a championship, but I think he still deserves that because he was one of the pioneers in slam dunk. He was one of the greatest dunkers of all time. And of course, he brought a lot of following sa Toronto and sa kanyang later years sa paglalaro niya sa Dallas. The other guy that I believe dapat talaga kahit hindi nanalo ng kampyonato, Charles Barkley ng Philadelphia 76ers. Now a renowned commentator, but the round mound of rebound, I think, deserves to have a statue sa Philadelphia kung saan dun siya nagsimula. Or maybe sa Phoenix kung saan nadala niya ang Phoenix Suns to the finals back in 1993 and 94 against the Michael Jordan Bulls. So, 2 names, but of course, ang dami-dami pa niyan. I think Kevin Love eventually needs a statue as well, and many others. Even Greg Popovich, I think, needs a statue eventually para sa kanyang legendary career. Alright, let's go to our third and final issue of the morning. Nako, ito ay tungkol sa ating kababayan na naglalaro ngayon sa Japan B-League. Si Kai Soto ay lumipat na si Hiroshima Dragonflies. He played his first game, 10 points and 3 blocks and a couple of rebounds. So sa pagsisimula ng laro niya sa Japan, ano pa ang gusto niyong makita na improvement mula kay Kai Soto? I'll give you 1 minute, okay? Kate, go!
Kudos muna. What Kai had in his debut was a fair performance after all. 10 points, 3 blocks, and 2 boards. But it could have been better. The potential is there, and it's not bad for a first-timer. Sabi nga niya, it's his first game with the team. It's the team's first game with him. And he's still adjusting. And he has the height. Grabe yung height advantage na dito coming from the Australian NBL. And yung experience na baon niya from there, the potential is really there, and we're just waiting for Kai to come out of his shell. But for me, it's more of him limiting his fouls and a better stamina.
Oy, okay yan. Conditioning ang sinasabi ni Kate. Oo, talagang kailangan yan. Unless gusto niya ma-injure muli, napakahalaga niya lalo na for a guy that stands at 7'3". Luisa, same issue. Sa pagsisimula ng laro niya sa Japan B-League, anong improvement pa ang gusto mong makita mula kay Kai Soto? 1 minute, Luisa. Go!
Siguro kung una ko pong nakikita, it really stands out sa stats po natin, ay pwede niya pong i-improve talaga ang kanyang rebounding. Kasi with his height, 7'3", he should really be dominating the boards. Pero hindi nga po natin gaano pa nakikita to. Yung nga in his first game, 2 rebounds lang. And with the way that talagang he towers over everyone else. Dapat he should be getting more rebounds. So maganda rin siguro po mag-focus sa post defense, no? Kasi alam rin naman natin yung lakas ng mga bigger foes. So definitely going to the weight room, making himself stronger para mas maging effective siya sa post, para makadepensa sa kanyang mga kalaban, no? Kasi obviously the offense will always be there. Nakikita rin naman natin he also has that outside shot, but definitely a lot more he leaves a lot to be desired sa loob, especially sa rebounding and sa defense. So hopefully we see that just short stint niya bago siya maghanap ulit ng opportunity sa NBA.
Oo nga, kailangan niya yan dahil hindi siya latagal sa NBA as a big man kung hindi siya makakakuha ng rebounds. And all of those na sinasabi nyo, mahalaga yan sa kanyang pagtungtong sa gilas if ever mapili siya for the FIBA World Cup. Of course, inaasahan natin na nandun ang ating pinakamalaking player pagdating sa World Cup. Ako, basically, it's the same plus maybe improve or maging mas conscious sa physicality. I think he has to get that contact. He has to be ready to be bumped and to be hit and still maintain his form just to be a little stronger, especially when he goes up against the big boys ng world basketball. Ladies, again, maraming salamat. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Happy Women's Month. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy watching the games. And ako, susunod ako sa mga sinusulat ninyo. Maraming salamat, Kate and Luisa.
Thank
you,
you po.
Kong. Thank you, Kate.
Mga kaibigan, Kate Reyes from Spain and Luisa Morales mula sa Philippine Star. Ako talagang ang sarap pagka ganyan, ang kahuntahan mo sa umaga, very energetic and a lot of, light moments dito sa ating Sabado ng umaga. Alright, bago tayo mag-break, isa muna pong paalala mula sa ating mga kaibigan from Smart. Puso Pilipinas is a movement to celebrate the Filipino athlete powered by Smart. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Get a chance to win exclusive Puso Pilipinas merch by sharing their Facebook page in your social media accounts with hashtag Puso Pilipinas. The Giga Life app is the latest mobile app from Smart that lets you discover and enjoy your passions with the different Giga promos. It can be downloaded and used by Smart Postpaid, Smart Prepaid, Bro Prepaid, and TNT subscribers via the Apple or Google Play Store. What can the Giga Life app do for me? Check your balance. Monitor your current subscription, top up using debit credit card. Subscribe to the latest Giga promos. Monitor your data consumption. Auto-detect your mobile number when you are connected to Smart Network one-tap subscription to the most popular offer, Giga Video 99. And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart! When we return, kasama po natin Matt Beyer, CEO and co-founder of the EASL. Ito po ang Power and Play. Hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go at ng True Religion. Ang oras po natin, 8:34 ng umaga.
I dare to dream big. To be a voice of my generation. To inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours. With Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice. Naswak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to Go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go delivery hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chooks2godelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
Kami ang tunay na AM sa FM 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taon pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
NBA fans, are you ready? NBA is back! Mas pinatinding NBA experience! Mas kapanapanabik at maksyong NBA basketball moments! Don't miss the new season of the NBA every Monday and Friday on One Sports and every Saturday and Sunday on TV5. Always a fan of the NBA.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taon pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Buong pagmamalaking binabati ng Radyo 5 ang ating mga kapatid na pinarangalan ng Guild of Educators, Mentors and Students sa 7th GEMS Hiyas ng Sining Awards. Congratulations, Frontline Pilipinas bilang Best News Program for Television. Christy Fermin, natatanging hiyas ng sining sa panulat. Ted Filon, DJ Chacha sa Radyo 5, Best Radio Program for Opinion, Public Affairs and Public Service at 92.3 News FM, Radyo 5 bilang Radio Station of the Year. Maraming salamat po!
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taon pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Tutukan gabi-gabi ang malalimang pagsisiyasat ng mga napapanahong balita. Hihimayin ang iba't ibang anggulo para sa mas malawak na diskusyon at impormasyon. Samahan sina Ed Lingao at Mian Los Baños mula sa Frontline tonight, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 10:35 p.m. sa TV5.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taon pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay cherry loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, cherry loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Broadcasting from the Radyo 5 studios in Reliance Street, Mandaluyong City, in Mega Manila. 25,000 watts of true broadcast quality. Mas pinalakas, mas pinalawak, mas pinalinaw na tunog ng AM sa FM. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Power and Play. Game na sa Radyo 5 92.3 News FM.
Kinakamusta po natin lahat ng ating mga bossing sa Batch 18 ng Lasal Green Hills na mga nakatutok sa atin ngayong umagang ito. Magandang umaga. Good morning, boys. Hope you're enjoying the show and of course, thank you for the game yesterday. Doon sa mga mahihilig sa NBA, a lot of games today. Right now, ang naglalaro po, Portland at Philadelphia. Blazers, the Trail Blazers up by 8 points with about a minute remaining sa first quarter. Talking about foreign leagues, well, recently naglaro po ang PBA sa East Asia Super League Champions Week. And the man responsible for putting this together and of course the ambitious project of the EASL is with us this morning. Walang iba kundi ang CEO and co-founder of EASL. Ito po ang ating panayam kay Matt Beyer. House, EASL CEO and co-founder Matt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Kom Noli. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always great talking with you. And I'm happy to spend my evening with you tonight.
You know, this is your second time on the show, I think. And you know, when I started first talking to you, this whole concept about the East Asia Super League was just coming up, and You were so excited, you were so energetic about the idea. There were some unfortunate delays, but finally the Champions Week got off. Matt, first of all, how significant is it that you finally got the Champions Week off the ground and, of course, very successful?
Yeah, I think it was essential for our business. I mean, it was really an essential thing for East Asia Super League to thrive and survive further, as well as put a foundation out there for the home and away season. If we would not have had this Champions Week and we'd gone straight into the home and away season in October, that would be a full year without competition, which for our partner leagues, for FIBA Asia, for the fans, I don't think it's an acceptable proposition. So East Asia Champions Week, in my opinion, it was an imperfect format with too few games. However, it was better than having nothing, and it was a good springboard into our home and away season. So I think overall it was a net positive and a success, but I'm really looking forward to October and the home and away season starting, because that's what East Asia Super League is, our original intent.
Right. I know that you were supposed to do that last October, and of course it got pushed back, and of course the EASL Champions Week was born. But Matt, obviously you have a vision for the EASL. Do you think that somehow, given the larger picture of the EASL, the Champions Week was able to accomplish just a little bit and push that agenda towards that vision?
Yeah, I mean, it is like we really what happened is that last June in Manila, we had our draw ceremony. That was on June 28th, 2022. And so we drew the East Asia Super League qualified teams from the champions and runners up of the previous season standings. And when we were able to do that, then that's what you saw in Champions Week, were the qualified teams. So we created that mechanism for qualification, which was embraced and respected by all of the domestic leagues. And so it was a taste of what is coming. So for us externally, we would say EASL Champions Week is our season 1. And the upcoming season will be the season 2. And again, the qualification scheme will be the same, that we'll draw the champion and runner up from the various leagues to play in our 8-team format. And actually, there's a very large chance, which is one of the things that we discussed at our advisory board, which was the fourth meeting of the EASL advisory board, which includes representatives from each of the leagues. Mr. Al Francis Chua is the representative from the PBA, and we talked about that we're currently in negotiation right now with the China CBA to have them involved in the fall as well. So as everyone's known, the border situation in China has been very uncertain until recently, and so we didn't have them in the format. But now we're looking at, instead of just an 8-team format, going to a 10-team format for the fall. So that would be even more exciting and just great to give exposure to all of the leagues in the world's biggest marketplace.
When we only see the finished product, of course, in the Champions Week. We saw the games, of course. The 2 Koreans played in the finals, but we obviously do not know what happened in the background, in the sidelines. Can you tell us, the bigger problems that you faced during the Champions Week? What were those, I guess, nuances as well as issues that you faced?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first challenge was that East Asia Super League had never done an event in Japan before. So it was, we'd done 4 invitational tournaments previously in Macau, where we had a very close relationship with the Sports Bureau of Macau. And then we also had these beautiful, huge integrated resorts where the players could stay and eat. And these arenas that were either the public venues or the venues in the casinos. And everything was very sort of plug and play, whereas in Japan, we were entering into a whole new ecosystem where we didn't we didn't really know what was the situation before we started planning for this event. And because there was a lot of uncertainty around the reformatting from the home and away season to Champions Week, we only had really about 2 months to plan the event. And so it was that was a challenge, but we learned a lot. And I think that the Japanese standard of operating events and the Japan B League are doing really well. And so they were great partners for us. And we just were able to take it as a educational experience. And when we do go to the home and away, what is the standard that we have to produce things at, and how do we work closely with the Japan B League to be a successful partner? The second thing that was really a challenge was we operated our event in 2 cities over the course of 5 days. And so our first 3 days were in Utsunomiya, Japan, which is about a 2-hour drive north of Tokyo, or a 40-minute high-speed train ride. And it's really a bit out of the way from Tokyo. And so when we finished games on Friday, March 3rd at about 9:30, 10 p.m., we had to pack up the whole crew of EASL people, several of the teams, and travel the next day from all the way to the airport in Tokyo, and then to take a 3-hour flight across all of Japan from north to south to Okinawa, and then take another hour-long bus ride to the arena, and then to play 2 games back-to-back. And so I was really dealing with a situation where there was a lot of frayed nerves, I would say, like within the EASL crew. There was a lot of people who were really just like working on 2 hours of sleep, or some of them their only sleep was when they were on the plane ride. And so it was just really hard.
Logistics and everything. Yeah, that was quite difficult, huh? But this one I'm going to ask you. You had two Koreans in the finals. How was the fan engagement? I mean, did you feel like, since this was hosted by a city in Japan, Okinawa, for the finals, do you feel that the fan engagement went down a little bit, or was it not affected by the fact that there were 2 South Korean teams that were playing?
Well, I think it was very important that we had the home team, the Ryukyu Golden Kings, in the 3rd place game on the final day, and that was able for us to, as East Asia Super League, to set a record attendance for our games, which was more than double our previous finals day. But it would have been better to have them in the championship game, because when you went from the 3rd place game to the final game, there was a lot of the fans that just they disengaged, and we probably had about half of those fans in the final game. But but the good part is we had a lot of fans coming from Korea, and there was still very strong broadcast audiences. And so, I mean, look, like if you're doing any sort of this type of tournament when it's in a certain location, if you don't have a strong local component, it's always a weakness of the event, and that's just the way it goes. So, I mean, you see that in the Olympics, you see that in the World Cup, you see this in any sort of
the risk.
It's the risk. And that's when we look at, like, for East Asia Super League, our Final Four, when we're going to be hosting that for the home and away, when we look at, like, where do we host this, if we don't have a local component, then it's going to just be hard to draw in the fans for that. So that's something that we have to work on over time as we build the brand.
Yeah, I guess that those are the learnings from this particular week, and obviously, knowing you, I'm sure you're going to be working on that, very hard, so that that's something that you can iron out. But let me ask you about this. The EASL Champions Week came at the time, for instance, in the PBA, where the local league was playing. Our Commissioner's Cup conference is playing, or rather the Governor's Cup, and teams were just using one import, for instance, in that matter. And obviously that and of course the preparedness of the team, they were preparing for the PBA, and then they only had a little time to prepare for the Champions Week. Were you concerned about the competitive balance of the league as well as the preparedness of the teams, given this particular format?
No, I think that the parity is still really good. I just think that there has to be a way to make sure that we're able to. I think this import issue with the PBA is something that we need to look at. I mean, EASL really, we focus on being an exciting product, and part of the excitement of watching any of the leagues is really the quality of the import players on the different teams. Right. And so, we are committed to having 2 imports per team, that right level of preparation and then the right level of players, so that there isn't some sort of disadvantage. Right. I think that we can figure out a model for that to work, and that it's not going to be, it's not going to be a burden, especially in home and away. But
can you divulge to us what this model would be? This adjustment to the PBA?
Look, I spent a couple days, which is why I'm so pink right now, in the Okinawa sun after our arena, because I needed some vitamin D, and I was spending a lot of mornings out on the balcony thinking about this stuff. And how can we do a better job? So all I can tell you is that we're still thinking about it. And
all right, fair enough.
I think that was one of the things that when Chairman Ricky Vargas and Governor Al Francis and Kom Willie, where we were all sitting together and talking about this, is like it's something that we really want to make sure that there is a way and an answer for this, so that the PBA is on a fair playing ground.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised about the results of the PBA teams of San Miguel and Tocantex?
Yes, I was surprised. I mean, I think that because in our previous, the terrific 12 in 2019, I mean, San Miguel beat China's CBA team. They also went to the final 4 of this, and they were very competitive and very tough. And so, I think that it also told me too about sort of what's the strength of the Japanese and Korean teams mid-season versus in the preseason. And I think that there's just there just needs to be a level of preparedness together with that import player, where the chemistry is stronger going into this competition. I really still believe. I mean, especially seeing if you look at the Bay Area Dragons, which took 3rd, and in my opinion, they could have taken a run at the championship. They just had a bad quarter in that first game against SK, where they blew that huge lead. And other than that, they were quite strong and dominant against the other teams in the competition. But they had a very hard fought series against Ginebra in the PBA finals, and no one would ever dispute that. So I do believe in the resilience and the strength of the PBA teams very much, and I just think that maybe there's things about how we work with the PBA to get ready for the competition that we can do, and as we talked about over dinner after one of those games, that anything can be worked on through consultation and just more planning.
And of course, there has to be a new mindset in terms of the way the PBA thinks now that the game has become very globalized, and of course there are a lot of commitments that the PBA is getting into. But let me ask you about this. A lot of the local fans, Matt, in the Philippines are calling for changes in the PBA, brought about by the results that came out in the Champions Week. Do you think it is fair to gauge the PBA based on this sample size that happened in the EASL?
I think it's fair to say that there are room for improvement, which I would say with any of the leagues. I mean, I thought that, to be honest, I personally thought that the Japanese teams would take the competition a bit more seriously, and I thought that they are the better league. And this is the thing, is when you're building a Champions League, it's like if you looked at Europe before, or if you looked at even the Australian NBL, and before the Australian NBL, there was the different state leagues in Australia, because it's a very big country and geographically diverse, and that there's a transition from where the leagues take their own domestic competition really seriously, and then the level of seriousness towards this type of a competition grows over time. And it's an evolution, and we're really just in the first quarter of that right now. So when, for example, the Ryukyu Golden Kings, when they lost and then they were basically not able to qualify for the championship, then they decided to rest their best player, Jack Cooley, for the game that I went to last night in the domestic competition. And that type of behavior of, like, you know, saying that we're going to rest a key player and you know, for the domestic competition versus EASL for a third place finish, and kind of throw in the towel for that. I mean, it shows that our prominence in the eyes of the various domestic leagues still has a lot of room to grow.
Right. So, all right. Given that, what lessons can be picked up from this initial experience? How are you pushing the importance of the EASL? You know, outside of the prize money that you offer, and in addition, how are you working with the various governing bodies of these leagues? Because it's not the governance. I guess policies are very different for each league, and so I guess there's a lot of thinking that needs to be done here, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we've spent a lot of time over the last several years, starting in 2016, of working on building excitement and passion for the concept, and that the whole purpose of this, and especially with the recognition of FIBA and the partnership with FIBA, is that this is about development of the game. And as someone who's worked in the NBA before and then worked as an agent in the China CBA for 10 years prior to doing this, I have seen a fair amount of basketball, both at the most developed commercial level, as well as in one of the best leagues in Asia, at, you know, from the talent level, from the team level. And I think that, like, for me, what struck me so apparently is that Asian fans love basketball, and they're probably some of the most passionate fans in the world. But to be able to see the basketball where you have Asian players consistently going to the NBA, or national teams finishing in the later stages of the World Cup or the Olympics, like, there has to be exchange between the different geographies. And I'm 100% confident that if you would take, like, you know, for example, from San Miguel, like a Terrence Romeo or a Jermar Fajardo, and they spend 2 years in China or 3 years in Japan, and then, you know, come back to the Philippines or something, they would learn something differently, you know, where that would come back for their skill set, where they would be a player that's at an elevated level. Or, you know, not even if they go and play in those leagues, but if they just have more exchange, because everyone loves the national team competition because of these regional rivalries, but the game content is fairly limited.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know, I can see your point. I can see the way, you know, things potentially could become, but I can also see a lot of the problems that you're facing. But here's one thing I want to ask you, Matt, and I guess I really want, you know, some honest answer. Do you think that the EASL, after what has happened, and now, you know, local fans, for instance, in the Philippines are saying, hey, you know, we were embarrassed. The PBA is not a strong league besides all of these teams. Do you think that the EASL could potentially hurt a participating league more than it could help?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think whether it be the financial arrangement or just like the helping on the technical side of raising the level of the game through the exchange and just those diverse experiences, like, I think, like, we're always committed to being a force for development and a force for good. And I mean, even you know, I'll be in Manila again in a couple weeks, and you know, I consider that all of the PBA governors and the you know, the management of the PBA to be good friends, and I think that that relationship is really strong, and it's built on trust. And if there's things in terms of the format or how we help the different leagues to be ready for playing in EASL, like that can all be worked out, but it's a process, and we're here for the long run.
Right.
And that's part of being a true friend, is, like, you know, there's certain times that, you know, for example, in the reformatting of the season, that we didn't look very good, but the PBA stood by our side. And I would say, after the losses just now, you know, with the PBA teams, they might be getting some heat, but we're committed to wanting to present a good way for EASL to work for the PBA too. Fans say what they say. I mean, look, like the fans aren't the ones on the court playing the game necessarily, and they're not the ones who live and breathe this every day. But I mean, we need the fans for their passion, but at the end of the day, like there has to be some room for people to stumble, fall, get up, and figure out how to do better the next day.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you. I think, as I mentioned earlier to you, these are, baby steps. These are growing pains, and every organization goes through that. And I certainly hope that you can find ways to iron out the kinks, particularly in the, in the import situation, in the schedules and all of those things. But I want to ask you about that because you said you're still working on that. I just want to ask you about your plans moving forward. When do you think will you, what's the next? In other words, meetings that'll come around, and of course, when do you finalize all of these things to be announced to the public?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have another advisory board meeting because our really pressing issue at the moment is, do we expand the format from 8 teams to 10 teams with China coming in? And we need to figure that out by May.
Okay.
And so I think that we'll have some of these other discussions about just finalizing a schedule at that point, and then we'll know where to go. And then we'll also know with whatever the PBA conference is, how the import situation works at that time, and how we can best help on that situation. One of the things is and I'm very aware, like how all of the leagues have taken a lot of financial hits during the COVID pandemic, and we want participation in EASL to be no risk for the participating leagues, which means EASL is taking a lot of risk on the investment in this, and in terms of how we host the teams, the prize money, the appearance fees, etc. But like at the same time, with things like the imports and everything, we want to make sure that we work in a collaborative fashion with the league, so that we're not putting anyone into sort of a financial hole or anything by doing this, but we want to make sure that the teams are as competitive as possible.
All right. Well, before I let you go, Matt, obviously this is not going to be for the short term. You want to see this in the long term. What do you envision, or where do you envision EASL to be in about 3 to 5 years, Matt?
Look, I think that EASL from a commercial basis as well as a fan base size is going to be one of the top 3 leagues in the world, behind the NBA and the Euro League. And I think that we're going to be a very good partner for the PBA. I think that we're going to expand in 2024-25 season from 8 to 16 teams in total. And so we're looking to have more than just the champion and runner-up of one of the PBA conferences from the Philippines present in the league. We want to host our Final Four in the Philippines, and we want to see the Philippine teams making the Final Four consistently, and to be placing high in the rankings. And we want to harness that passion of basketball in the Philippines to be something that is able to be featured across the entire region and excite people. I mean, one of the most memorable things that the commissioner of the China Basketball Association and NBA legend Yao Ming ever said to me was, if we had the fans that the Philippines have, we would never lose a game on the national team level. So that's, there's no regional basketball party without Philippine fans.
Yeah. And that's what we're proud of here in the Philippines, our basketball, and of course, our heart. Matt Beyer, thank you so much for joining us today. Yan po mga kaibigan, si Matt Beyer, CEO and co-founder ng EASL. A lot of problems beset the EASL. Of course, yung formatting, the number of imports, the schedules, marami po yan. But it's a great concept, just to get basketball together in the region. Hopefully, ay makakita sila ng solusyon dun sa kanilang pagpapatakbo dito, lalong-lalo na sa upcoming home and away season ng EASL. Alright, bago po tayo mag-break, silipin muna natin ang ating mga pop culture at viral videos sa mundo ng palakasan sa Stop and Pop.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
Siguradong what a play kayo dito sa video na aming ipapakita sa inyo ngayong Sabado po ng umaga. Panoorin natin ito ha. Ito po yung laro ng frisbee at malayo-layo ang frisbee throw na yan. Pero kita nyo yung bata. Ang layo ng pasa pero halos isubsub yung mukha, subsub ang katawan sa lupa para lamang masalo yung dive na yun, masalo yung frisbee para makakuha ng touchdown mula sa hanep na throw hanggang sa pagsasakripisyo ng katawan para sa puntos at syempre ang selebrasyon. What a play sa Stop and Pop. Sa aming pagbabalik ang ating mga kasama, PBA legend at ngayon ay Commissioner ng MPBL, Captain Marbel, Kenneth Duremdes. Ito po ang Power and Play hatid sa inyo ng Cherry Loom, Cherry Tigo, Chooks to Go at ng True Religion. Ang oras po natin, 9:06 ng umaga.
I dare to dream big, to be a voice of my generation, to inspire resilience in the face of roadblocks. And in sharing my stories, I let others share in my passion.
Follow Kai's stories on Twitter and share yours with Smart Double Giga Stories. Share 2 times the passion with 2 gigabytes for Twitter and more. Guaranteed every day, plus data for all sites.
Simple, smart ako.
Nag-uumapaw sa real chicken juice na swak sa panlasa ng buong pamilya. Available in sweet roast, pepper roast, at harissa roast variants. Chooks to Go. Masarap kahit walang sauce. Tawag na sa Chooks to Go Delivery Hotline 8687-1010 o online sa chookstogodelivery.com or via GrabFood at Foodpanda.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Tutukan gabi-gabi ang malalimang pagsisiyasat ng mga napapanahong balita. Hihimayin ang iba't ibang anggulo para sa mas malawak na diskusyon at impormasyon. Samahan sina Ed Lingao at Mian Los Baños mula sa Frontline tonight, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 10:35 p.m. sa TV5.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Na-miss mo ba ang game kagabi? Gusto mo bang malaman ang latest happening sa sports? Like and follow us on social media. Pwede mo nang balik-balikan ang mga paborito mong games anytime, kahit saan. At pwede mo nang i-share sa tropa. Dito lang tayo sa nag-iisang go-to tambayan ng lahat at One Sports PHL on social media.
Mukhang kailangan ko na naman palitan ng bubong ko, pare. Mag-iisang taong pa lang yan. May tulo na kagad.
Ay, bossing! Baka naman kasi hindi matibay yung ginamit nyo. Dapat ang gamitin mo ay Cherry Loom, ang yerong aluminum. Basta yero, Cherry Loom. Tibay protektado sa pangmatagalang yero.
Totoong-totoo na! Para sa samahang True Na'y Kapatid, sugod na sa Quezon Memorial Circle ngayong March 11. Mag-enjoy sa iba't ibang fun activities for free at on-site public service para sa buong pamilya at barkada. May pa-true concert din kami para sa inyo. Makikijaming sa atin ang mga kapatid stars. Hindi rin papahuli ang star music artists. At sabay-sabay tayong umawit at makiparty kasama ang mga paborito mong banda. Saan ka pa? Dito na tayo sa samahang True Na'y Kapatid. Dito na tayo sa totoo. Dito na tayo sa 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Sugod na ngayong March 11 sa Quezon Memorial Circle.
Tayo sa totoo. Dito tayo sa totoo. Masarap pakinggan ang katotohanan. Dito tayo sa totoo. Walang kasinungalingan. Tunay na kapatid. Iyong maaasahan. Saan man sa bansa at sa mundo na may Pilipino. Dito tayo sa totoo.
25,000 watts ng totoong tunog ng FM radio. Totoong pinalakas, totoong pinagtibay ng mga batikang mamamahayag sa paghahatid ng news, public service, entertainment, music, information at inspiration para sa bawat kapatid, bawat Pilipino. Ito ang 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo.
Dito po tayo sa totoo, ang Power and Play sa 92.3 True FM. Radyo 5 True FM. Dito po tayo sa totoo. At again, binabati po natin lahat ng ating mga suki at lahat ng mga nagsasapit ng birthday. Lalong-lalo na si Coach Team Manager Jojo Lastimosa. Happy birthday, Jolas!
Happy birthday!
Naku, nakasama natin yan ng isang linggo at again, very happy for him na maganda ang kanyang pinapakita. Talking about Jojo Lastimosa, of course, kasama po natin ngayon, isa sa mga nakasabayan din ni Jojo Lastimosa sa PBA. At ngayon siya po ang Commissioner ng MPBL na magsisimula na ng kanilang bagong season. Walang iba kundi Captain Marbel, ang dating MVP ng PBA, si Kenneth Duremdes. Kenneth, magandang umaga.
Kom Noli, maraming salamat ulit sa pagkakataon at pagbigay ng chance ulit na makasama kayo.
Naku,
alam po natin na medyo busy po kayo pero naalala pa rin po nyo.
Kami ang magpapasalamat sa iyo, Kom, dahil alam namin na ikaw ay talaga naghahanda sa inyong opening, kaya medyo kami nagpapasalamat. Kom, bago ako pumunta dun sa MPBL, nagaganap ngayon of course ang PBA All-Star Game dyan sa Pasig City sa Iloilo. Gusto ko lang matanong ka, you were a 9-time PBA All-Star, dati kang All-Star MVP back in 1996. Kaya alam ko na marami kang memories tungkol sa All-Star Game. Anong best memories mo, Ken, sa PBA All-Star Game?
Yeah, PBA All-Star again is giving back to the fans, no, na mga sumusuporta sa atin. Before, my best memory maybe yung nag-MVP ako noong 96 under Coach Sunny Jaworski. So pinakamagandang moment ko yun sa All-Star dahil hindi lang tayo na naging MVP, yung naging coach pa natin yung legendary.
Oo.
Si Coach Sunny Jaworski.
Talaga namang nakakatuwa yan. Of course, marami ka sinalihan doon ng mga nanalong team. Pero meron ka bang side event na gusto sanang salihan na hindi mo nasalihan? Kom? Sumali ka ba sa slam dunk? Sumali ka sa slam dunk?
Sumali kami sa slam dunk, but yung 2-ball competition nanalo kami ni Johnny.
Oh, okay.
Yung 3-point shootout ang hindi natin nasalihan.
Ayun, dapat sinalihan mo pala yun, ano, Ken?
dapat para kumpleto. Pero hindi, yun lang ang side event na hindi natin nasalihan.
Nakakatuwa lagi magbalik na, of course, sa days mo because, of course, you are a legend, you are a Hall of Famer, and hindi ka makakalimutan. But, of course, ngayon, ang pinamumunuan mo, ang napakasigla, and, of course, ang lumalaki pa na MPBL family. You just finished your preseason doon sa Gensan. Ang assessment mo, Kenneth, ng readiness, preparedness ng mga teams, ng iyong opisina para sa pagbubukas ng bagong season based on what happened dun sa Gensan, yung inyong preseason tournament?
Yes, nakita natin during our preseason in Gensan, talagang yung mga teams ay nag-beef up na kanilang mga lineup, no? Pubuwasan ng mga magaling na players kasi nakita talaga nila yung nag-champion last season natin, yung Nueva Ecija, talagang napakalakas. So yun ang tinitingnan nila ngayon. Eventually, dun sa pre-season natin, natalo sila ng Zamboanga nung kanilang kalaban nung last season na national finals. So, may assessment sa ibang teams, ganun din ang ginagawa nila ngayon. Naghahanap sila ng mga players na tingin nila makakompete dun sa dalawang top teams natin, which is the finalists last year, yung Nueva Ecija and Zamboanga. So, nandito kami ngayon sa Lucena for the opening. Later, kahapon nandun ako ng practice ng Quezon team, yung host natin dito. Nakikita ko mga players, new faces, may old faces, pero may mga players sila talaga na nakikita ko na tingin ko makakompete dito sa ating mga perennial teams sa liga.
Well, Kom, sabi mo nga, opening nyo today dyan sa Lucena. It is your 5th season. Unang-una, ilan ba ang mga kuponan na maglalaban-laban? And of course, ilan dyan ang mga bagong franchises, Kom?
This season, we have a total of 29 teams.
Wow!
So, hinatin nila sa North and South. Ang North, 15 teams. Ang sa South is 14. Sad to say, last minute nag-withdraw si Cebu. Yun ang sayang. Dahil alam natin, ang Cebu is, again, powerhouse yan. And talagang mga Cebuanos hilig sa basketball. So, nag-withdraw. So, naging 29 na lang yung teams natin. So, mamaya, sa opening...
Ilan ang bago dyan, Kom? Ilan ang bago yung teams?
The two new franchises are the Negros and the Quezon, our host today.
Oo, wow.
Dalawa po.
Alam natin kung gaano kaganda yung venue dyan sa Quezon, and of course, kung gaano ka-init din, of course, ang mga taga Quezon. Ako po, ang pamilya ko taga Quezon din, kaya alam ko kung gaano kasarap maglaro dyan. But Kom, sabi mo nga 29 teams, almost 30, lumalaki pa every season. Ano sa tingin mo? Bakit lumalaki ang MPBL, Kom Ken?
Tingin ko dyan, yung mga fans at ng mga tao, talagang mga basketball fanatics is, again, territorial. No? Mas gusto nila yung regional type of basketball. Sa nakikita ko, kasi every season, halos lahat ng mga lugar na iikot ko. So, makikita mo yung support, and makikita mo yung mga for a moment, no, na napapansin ko minsan, for a moment, habang may game sila, parang nagkakaroon ng unity, yung community, habang naglalaro yung team nila. So, yun ang nakikita ko. So, sabi ko, iba ang effect niya, and yung mga fans talagang looking forward sila lagi na meron silang home game. So, sabi ko, alam naman natin ngayon na pag naglaro ka sa Metro Manila, hindi na tayo masyadong inaano ng mga fans natin, pinapanood. Pero pag dinala mo sa mga regions, talagang nandun pa rin. And nandun pa rin yung sabik ng mga fans natin na mapanood yung mga paborito ng basketball players. So we decided na mas effective ang liga na nakikita namin pag nasa probinsya yung mga games. So, ang namin ngayon, ang target is more provincial road games para yung mga fans natin matutuwa ulit.
Well, nakikita natin yan obviously sa MPBL. Nakikita rin of course natin ngayon kasalukuyan dun sa All-Star Weekend ng PBA sa Pasig City. So talagang tama ang formula na ilapit ang mga laro sa ating mga fans, lalong-lalo na sa mga regions at sa mga probinsya. But when you have a big league like this, Kom Kenneth, alam naman natin meron din mga marami ding problemang lumalabas, no? And ako particularly, of course, I know this na yung competitive balance pag 29 na ang teams mo, yung quality of games minsan hindi hindi pantay-pantay ang mga koponan. How do you solve this, Kom? Paano mo maisusigurado sa mga fans natin na kahit paano balanse and of course magiging dekalidad ang mga laro ng MPBL?
Tama, Kom Noli, no? Ang every success ng league, may mga failures, may mga birth pains, may mga challenges along the way. So, ang inaano natin dyan is yung mga teams na hindi talaga siya ganun ka-competitive, hindi naman siya ganun ka-challenge, no? Ka-challenging. Dahil mas nakikita natin yung mga homegrown na nabibigyan ng maraming pagkakataon. Pwera na lang talaga dun sa mga powerhouse teams natin, which is normal lang naman yun. In every leagues, meron talagang powerhouse. Dito sa MPBL, hindi rin talaga natin nakikita na meron talagang every game na may mga lopsided wins or margins. So, most ng mga games natin, close din. Mainly because pag yung weaker teams na napunta sila as host, ay lumalaban sila kahit malakas yung teams. Lumalaban sila kahit malakas.
Nakukontra ng crowd. Parang gano'n na nangyayari ng home court advantage.
Yes, imagine mo na lang, Kom Noli, pag every game mo kalaban mo Ginebra. Home game lagi yun.
Ang hirap
so,
nga.
kahit malakas pa kalaban ng Ginebra, kaya marami silang comebacks. Maraming never say die yung ano nila dahil dun sa crowd. So, nakikita natin dito sa MPBL yan, kahit weaker teams, pero pag home game nila, talaga may chance silang manalo kahit malakas ang kalaban.
Tama. Alright, well, in terms of rule changes, Kom, meron bang pagbabago? Meron ba kayong tinitingnan? Halimbawa, challenge system? Meron bang ganun na ipapasok ang MPBL?
Yes, Kom Noli, tama. Sa this season, meron tayong Coaches Challenge.
Wow. So, nauna pa kayo sa PBA, ha?
Actually, nung last season, bago mag-playoffs, kinonsult na natin yung mga nag-qualify for playoffs kung pwede natin na i-implement yung Coaches Challenge, pero by vote, hindi sila pumayag. So, hindi na natin muna tinuloy. So, ngayong season, itutuloy natin. And hopefully, no, magandang addition sa rules natin.
Oo, definitely. Kasi iba pa rin yung sinisigurado natin na tama ang mga tawag. That really improves the quality of the games. Yun naman ang rason para sa challenge system. Kom, meron nagsalita of course, ang founder ng MPBL, si Senador Manny Pacquiao, na posibilidad ng isang international MPBL. Parang expansion, at ang binabanggit niya doon ay mga kuponan sa even sa United Arab Emirates or even sa US. Ano ba? Paki-explain mo nga to kasi na-excite ako dito. Ano ang mga plano niyo dito? Tsaka of course, anong konsepto nito mula kay Senator Manny?
Yes, actually, before pandemic, nagkaroon na tayo ng mga plans, no? Nakailang meetings tayo with our counterpart in UAE, Dubai. Talagang gusto nila yung concept ng liga natin. And nag-present kami ng ating program and talagang vision ng liga. So, nakaprepare na sana, kaso inabot tayo ng pandemic, 2 years tayo nawala, naputol yung communication. Ngayon, gaya nga sinasabi ni Senator, gusto niya ulit buhayin dahil nakikita niya yung epekto ng regional type of basketball. So, babalikan namin si UAE, open naman, and gusto rin nila ituloy ulit dahil nakikita nila yung enthusiast ng mga Filipinos sa basketball. Yung mga, especially yung mga kababayan natin, mga OFWs na nasa Dubai. So, talagang gusto niya mangyari, and yung mga kausap natin doon, gusto nila talaga nila ituloy.
So, ano to? Parang may teams kayo sa UAE? Ganun na mangyayari, Kom?
May sarili silang teams, sila magliliga, and then eventually kung sino mag-champion doon, ang mag-champion dito will
maglalaban.
Maglalaban. And
okay.
And possible na magkaroon ng guest team doon pag off-season kasi konti lang ata doon, parang 7 teams lang sila.
Okay.
So short tournament lang yan, and kung ano ang result, baka pag na-timing natapos ang liga natin dito, magkaroon ng guest team doon from the Philippines.
Alright. Alam natin na kayo, of course, napapanood din sa Signal TV. May tie-up kayo with the TV5 family. Tuloy pa ba ang ating TV coverage ng Signal, ng One Sports, at of course ng TV5 network?
Yes. Nasa Signal pa rin po tayo, Kom Noli. Live pa rin tayo sa 1PH, no? Dati kasi ang live natin is 9 to 11 yung last game. Ngayon, napaaga, kaya mas maganda. 8 to 10 na yung live natin sa 1PH.
Wow.
But of course, yung first game natin, magiging 4 to 6 na, live sa Facebook. And second game, 6 to 8, live pa rin sa Facebook.
Galing.
So, nasa signal pa rin tayo, kaya nagpapasalamat kami. At meron pa rin tayong TV platform para sa mga ating mga fans.
Very good. And ako, from my end, I hope na kahit papano, yung mga games natin, lalo pang mahaluan ng teknolohiya because alam mo naman na, Kenneth, sabi mo nga, Facebook, that's part of it. Ganyan talaga ngayon ang teknolohiya and that's the way to get more and more audience to watch your games. Pero ang MPBL, alam ko, is very, very nationalistic. Kaya nga puro homegrown at local talents ang kinukuha ninyo. In fact, mga Phil-Amps, hindi masyado pa kayong nandyan. Closed pa rin ba kayo sa idea about Phil-Americans or even imports? Ngayon na meron kayong mga international tie-ups na tinitingnan, Kom?
During our inaugural season, we're allowing only one Phil foreign na may limit na height. But nag-decide kami this season, dinagdagan na namin ng isa. So, 2 Phil foreign na ang allowed, wala nang limit sa height.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yun yung mga bago nating rules ngayon.
Okay.
And yung idea na magkaroon tayo ng foreign import, titignan pa natin dahil yung economic side dahil syempre yung mga teams natin hindi naman kaya maka-afford to hire foreign imports.
Oh, very good. Well, at least open kayo doon sa idea at pinag-aaralan. I think that's a very good sign of very progressive ang MPBL. In terms of representing the Philippines, alam ko some of your teams have done that. Meron ba kayong kahit na anong klaseng tie-up with the SBP na maybe the MPBL can be the source of representation for some of the tournaments ng Pilipinas?
Yes, we would love to, kung mabigyan tayo ng chance and to be a part of SBP family para yung mga calendars nila na hindi nila kaya ma-accommodate like yung mga some pocket tournaments kailangan natin salihan. We would love to do that. Magbibigay kami talaga ng time for that, especially if you're representing the national team. Right. So, okay sa amin. It's just, I don't know kung anong process. So, baka kailangan maging member muna ng SBP. And then, from there on, nasa kanila yung bola if ever na they need our help to provide players.
Great.
Anytime po. At talagang gusto rin ni Senator Manny na mag-represent tayo ng kahit paano, small tournaments will do for us and we'll be proud of it.
Well, AD Sani, Barrios, ayan narinig niyo si Com Kenneth gusto daw nila mag-SBP. Sana marinig yan ng ating mga kasama sa SBP. Com, as a final question, of course, 5 years, opening today, nako grabe, 29 teams, patuloy sa paglaki. Is the MPBL here to stay?
Yes, definitely. Every time na magkaroon kami ng meeting ni Senator and he keeps reminding us na alam nyo, itong MPBL, alagaan nyo, ayusin nyo, paganday nyo. Nandito ako, nasa likod nyo lang. Aabutin pa to ng mga anak-anak nyo. Sabi sa amin every time. So sabi ko, boss, alam mo naman natin, very passionate ka sa basketball. Same with us ng mga pinagkakatiwalaan mo dito sa MPBL. Hayaan mo pagtatrabuhan namin ng maganda to na mapatagal natin. Pero lagi niyang sinasabi niya na tatagal ang liga and alam mo naman natin sa Senator pag sinabi niya talagang gagawin niya.
Sigurado
we're just praying, we're hoping and praying yung support ng mga fans natin all over the Philippines ay nandyan kasi yun ang haligi ng MPBL. Yung mga provincial fans natin, yung mga nasa kanya-kanyang probinsya. So, habang nandyan sila, habang napapasaya natin sila, habang tinatangkilik nila ang ating liga, ang basketball, ng MPBL, ang MPBL will stay.
Well, inaasahan natin yan, lalong-lalo na pag ang namumuno ay katulad ni Kenneth Duremdes na talaga namang unang-una legend, pangalawa very passionate sa kanyang basketball at higit sa lahat, napaka-malapit sa mga fans. Kenneth, maraming salamat and good luck sa opening ninyo. We wish the MPBL 5th season all the best. Sana nga lalo pang lumaki at lalong magkatulong-tulungan ang mga liga sa Pilipinas. Congratulations
Yes.
ulit, Kom Ken. Congratulations.
Yes, Kom Noli. Kom Noli, salamat. And pag meron akong mga advices, kailangan tawagan kita.
Anytime, Kom. Maraming salamat. Mga kaibigan,
Thank you.
ang commissioner ng MPBL, ang PBA legend, Captain Marvel, Kenneth Duremdes. Again, it's just great to have all of these leagues. Hindi lang po PBA, marami hong liga nandyan. Tangkilikin po natin yan. At tama si Com Kenneth Sa probinsya ho, yung mga naglalaro ng ganyan, naku talaga namang dinudumog po yan. Dahil ang Pilipino talaga nandun ang basketball sa kanilang dugo. Giliw na giliw sa paglalaro, lalo na exciting. Sana lang MPBL maging quality ha. Balanse ang liga. Wala pong maraming polisiya na nagkakasama-sama ang mga team. Sana po maging balanse at mapagpatuloy ni Senator Manny ang kanyang hangaring bigyan ng basketball ang buong bansa sa pamamagitan ng MPBL. Alright mga kaibigan, konting mula sa paalala po sa ating mga kaibigan from Signal. Alam nyo bang mapapanood nyo na sa Signal ang pinaka-exciting at kapanapanabik na local and international basketball games? Cause we got game. Abangan ang PBA at NBA, pati na rin ang iba pang sports live and in high definition, and get up to 1,000 pesos in discounts when you subscribe to Signal. Visit your nearest Signal dealer or call 888-555 today. Abangan nyo po yan. We got game basta sa Signal TV. Alright mga kaibigan, at this point gusto ko rin po magpasalamat sa lahat ng mga tagapagtaguyod naman ng Power and Play. Kung wala sa kanila, wala rin po tayo dito sa huling 5 taon, mag-6 na taon na po tayo. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga sponsors natin. Unahin ko na po, of course, ang Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Sa ganitong pabago-bago ang panahon, mga kapatid, sobrang init, biglang uulan, kailangan natin ng matibay at protektadong bubong. Dapat ang bubong ay yerong may aluminum. Kapag may aluminum, tsak na pang matagalan. At isa lang ang alam kong dekalidad na yerong may aluminum, yan ang Cherry Loom, tibay protektado sa pang matagalang yero. Cherry Loom, ang yerong may aluminum. Maraming salamat, parang Elmer Ngo. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro, how neat it is to have a 7-seater SUV that has a powerful engine, world-class safety standards, and the latest tech features. Bet you didn't know that the all-new Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro has all these features and more at a very affordable price range. Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro is equipped with a 1.6 turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, an advanced driver assistance system, and 12 other safety features including blind spot detection, forward collision warning, and lane keeping assist. The flagship Tiggo 8 Pro allows you more control of the wheel. What's great is you can also join the green revolution with Cherry Tiggo 8 Pro plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or PHEV. So book a test drive now via www.cherryauto.ph or visit a Cherry dealership near you. Thank you so much kay Mr. Romel Sitin. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Subukan ang kanilang pinakabagong oven-roasted chicken na mas pinasarap dahil sa nag-uumapaw na flavorful chicken juice. Try their harissa roast, sweet roast, at pepper roast. Subukan din ang Chooks, the first dine-in restaurant ng Chooks to Go, dyan po sa Lipa, Batangas. Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Maraming salamat, Boss Ronald Mascareñas. True religion is in the Philippines, where passion meets power. Experience it firsthand. For your best style choices, visit True Religion at Conrades Maison Mall of Asia Complex, Resorts World Manila, and Hacienda Designer Outlet Silang, Cavite. Visit their newest branch at Grand Wing Newport City Resorts World Manila. True Religion, where passion meets power.
Thank you!
Joyride, ang bago nyong kasundo. Mga kasundo, first booking nyo, use promo code JRMC Taxi, 50% off on your first motorcycle taxi ride. Book Joyride Motorcycle Taxi for safe, affordable, quality, and fast rides. Ano pa ang hinihintay nyo? Download the Joyride Super App on Google Play Store and the App Store.
Thank you!
Elms Seafood Paluto, the latest offering of the Elms Resto Bar Group. Located at the Unit 2 ground floor, Calle Bistro, Ever Commonwealth, Quezon City. Enjoy their delectable seafood menu in a relaxed casual dining atmosphere for your salo-salo seafood meal. Elms Seafood Paluto.
Thank you!
Skin, your face and body anti-aging center with branches at Alabang Town Center and Green Hills, San Juan. For your skin assessments and treatment, call 0917-890-1640 or 0977-809-8886. Maraming salamat kay Doc Richie and Doc G Sarmiento. ASEA Subic Beach Resort. Experience the getaway that you deserve and dive into limitless happenings, rejuvenating experiences, and gastronomic adventures. ASEA Subic Beach Resort.
Thank you!
Regrow. Choose Regrow Minoxidil and regrow your confidence with healthy scalp and healthy hair. Regrow Minoxidil is available in all derm clinic branches, leading drugstores and department stores nationwide. You can also purchase Regrow Minoxidil on Lazada and Shopee. Just look for the Good Derma Shop and check out your trusted Regrow Minoxidil products. Like and follow our Facebook page at Regrow Minoxidil for promos and announcements. Choose Regrow Minoxidil.
Thank you!
And of course, Power and Play is powered by Smart. Live Smart!
Thank you!
Alright mga kapatid, at this point, sayang hindi natin makakasama. But ang ating pong itatampok ay isang up-and-coming athlete sa larangan ng fencing. Ang ating pong feature sa ating In the Spotlight.
Power and Play with Kom Noli.
She is the daughter of an illustrious couple, Congressman Richard Gomez and Mayor Lucy Torres Gomez. But she has started to make a name on her own. She was a former champion of international tournaments, and now she is a UAAP, fencing champion. Ang ating pong ilalagay sa In the Spotlight ngayong umaga, walang iba kung hindi si Juliana Gomez. Good morning, Juliana.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it live.
That's fine. I know you wanted to come here, and we're very happy just to have you on the show. Traffic is so bad, but maraming salamat, Juliana, for joining us today. Well, first of all, congratulations on your fantastic win in the UAAP. How significant
Thank you very much.
was that win for you compared, I guess, to your other championships like in Thailand and in Indonesia?
Yes, so with my other championships, they were actually preparatory events for the UAAP because I prepared so long for this. I wanted to get the feel of competition, so I joined quite a few abroad. It just so happens that I was able to medal.
Yeah.
But the UAAP was really part of my wish list. I wanted to win a championship for UP.
And you did. Of course, the choice of UP was something that surprised some, but obviously it has worked for you, and you defeated a very, very, very experienced fencer as well in Rowena Vergara of DLSU. But you mentioned UP. What has been the key to your sustained growth in the sport, Juliana?
For me, I really think it was the nonstop training. But not just physical training, but also mental training. Really understanding the game, doing a lot of film study. Pinagtiyagaan ko talaga yung fencing.
Yeah.
Para maabot ko yung level na to. I wanted to be at par with my competitors.
Ano ang typical day ng training for you?
For me, it would be if it's our season, I'll typically do weights in the morning or strength and conditioning. And then in the afternoon, I'll probably see my sports psychologist. We'll probably have a few sessions, talk about where I'm at mentally with regards to fencing, and then fencing training at night.
Right. Alam natin, we know that your dad not only is a great fencer, a great athlete, but he's also the president of the Philippine Fencing Association. So obviously,
Yes.
he looms largely in behind you. But why do you like fencing outside of the fact that your dad is part of it or has been doing fencing for so many years?
I really fell in love with the sport, and it's important for me to mention that because of my dad, I saw a different side of fencing. I was exposed to high-level players. I saw what fencing was like outside of the Philippines, and it was something that I really wanted to be a part of. I like that the community was small. I like that it's a sport that requires so much small, accurate, and precise movements. And I also really liked how it wasn't hopeless for me to still get better even if I started at a later age.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that this is a small community because obviously your parents are always in the limelight and they're always in the public eye. And I've read some of the articles about you that you really don't like that kind of attention. But and fencing is obviously also a small community, as you mentioned. Is that something that you chose out of your own volition? In other words, did you feel that you had to take it up just because your parents were there, or talagang ikaw lang yan, Juliana?
Not necessarily. Fencing kind of just fell into my arms during the pandemic. I didn't necessarily choose it. It's just that it was the only sport that that was okay for everyone to play because it's not necessarily a contact sport.
Right.
So I had to let go of volleyball. I had to say goodbye to playing other sports during the pandemic because, well, at that time it was unsafe.
Right.
So fencing was really my only option, and it was the only sport where I could get some sense of competition.
How much influence do your parents have on you as a fencer?
Well, for sure it's more of my dad because he was the only one who was a fencer. My mom, she's been very supportive throughout my journey. Although my dad, he's there when I train, he's there when I compete. We always review my games, whether I win or I lose on film. So his influence on me is quite big because my playing style also comes from him because all of his insight is put on me.
Yeah. Is there pressure that you are the daughter of a good fencer you are the daughter also of the president of the Fencing Association, Congressman Richard?
My dad never made me feel that way. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah, but do you feel like you have to work harder? Obviously when you're the president, you're the daughter of the official, and we know also that fencing is both objective and subjective. There are judges that are around. Do you feel that you have to work harder to prove your worth as a fencer?
That's the thing. I work hard in general because I'm very competitive and I want to make my parents proud and I want to be the best. So I don't think I work hard because of the pressure. I work hard because I would really like to reach my goals in fencing.
All right. Well, outside of fencing, do you do any cross training? Do you do any other sport that would enhance your capability and your skills as a fencer?
Well, I'm definitely into racket sports like badminton. That's very good cross training for fencing.
Yeah. Well, because we know that Congressman Goma is a multi-talented athlete. He was in fencing, he was in rowing, he plays basketball, he plays volleyball, he plays golf. Are you looking at that? I mean, you're young and you have a whole sports career ahead of you. Are you looking to be a multi-talented athlete as well, or are you just really going to concentrate on fencing?
I am because I've kept an open mind all throughout. I was able to switch from volleyball to fencing, and I won't be surprised if I end up in another sport after I've accomplished what I want to do in fencing.
Up to where do you want to go in terms of fencing, Juliana? Do you feel like even beyond the UAAP, you're willing to play and be part of the national team? I know you tried out in the SEA Games qualifier. So are you willing to go really all the way in fencing?
Yes, of course. I've already tried qualifying for the national team 3 times, but it just wasn't the time. So I'm gonna try again for the 2024 roster and for the SEA Games after Cambodia, and then we'll see from there, because I'd like to be part of the national team, and then my biggest dream is to really make it to the Olympics one day, which is very difficult for a fencer. It's a very, very difficult thing, but I have to keep my goals high.
Yeah. Well, clearly, and of course, as you said, there are not too many fencers, and clearly the Philippines needs a lot of the good ones like you and the up-and-coming fencers that can be given a lot of exposure. I know it's also not cheap to be a fencer, and of course the competitions that you have to go through. But what has been the best advice of your father in terms of fencing itself, and of course being trying to make it to the national team?
Well, from my mom and my dad, they've really seen my frustration because they know how far I want to take fencing. And of course, I just started about 2.5 years ago, so it hasn't been easy to kind of fast track my growth in this sport that requires, all of these things that you can't really get overnight. So I think the thing that has kept me going is when my parents tell me to just trust the process. It's very cliche, but in my case, there really is a process, and I have to trust the work that I've been putting into fencing in order to get to where I want to go.
All right. Well, you're talking about the process. You know yourself. Your coaches are obviously on top of your training. What areas do you feel do you need to improve in your skills, in your current levels of fencing?
Oh, thank you. I've never been asked that before. I actually have a notebook where I document all of my how I performed in training, how I performed in my last competition. So I'll just base my answer off of the UAAP. For me, I think it's just about more explosivity and speed in my action. That's very technical already, but I think that if I develop my speed and my arm strength, I really think that I'll get better results in bigger competitions if I improve on that.
Oh wow, that's really very technical. So, but let me ask you, how are you addressing that? What are your coaches prescribing that you do so that you can get to that level of speed and quickness that you want to achieve?
Well, after my season, I'm currently starting my off-season training already after my qualifiers this weekend.
Right.
So it will be more lifting, definitely, less sprints, but also a little less fencing. Just really more on building up on my strength and speed in the gym.
Kaming hindi marurunong ng fencing, Juliana, when we look at fencers and they compete, you're facing your foe and you have your weapon. And it seems like you're just gonna looking at the target. But how does quickness and speed and arm strength come into play?
In fencing, everything happens so fast. Sometimes you blink or you take the wrong step forward and you're hit. It just requires so much concentration. So every time your opponent makes a small mistake or you see an opening to attack, you have to be ready to take that hit. Because one point is very valuable in the game of fencing. Well, just like it's a high scoring game, yes, but you're against one person who's also thinking, who's also moving. So those small openings you have to take advantage of.
And in that sense, clearly in any sport, there are opportunities. There are also responsibilities as well as sacrifices.
Yes.
Juliana, what sacrifices are you willing to make to achieve these lofty goals that you've set for yourself?
I think that the sacrifices that I've made in fencing always require time spent away from family and friends. If you want to get better at fencing, you have to gain exposure. And when you try to gain exposure, of course, you compete abroad, you train abroad. So I've spent time away from my family and my friends, and I've missed a couple of special occasions just because of fencing abroad. So I think that's really been the greatest sacrifice.
And that's tough. I mean, for a young lady like you, obviously being away from family, and there will be more days and weeks that you'll be gone, I'm sure. And as you pursue. And talking about that, what are your next plans, Juliana? Do you have tournaments that you are setting up, or are there any training camps that you wish to attend to?
Yeah, so from since the UAAP, my coach and I have tried to extend my peak in order to be ready for this weekend's competition. This will be the first leg of the national opens for the SEA Games and national team ranking.
Okay.
So there's that, and then we actually have about 4 months off because the current national team will be preparing for the SEA Games. So we resume the 2nd to the 5th leg of national opens, maybe in the summer. So I have some time to prepare after this weekend.
All right, and that means a little more time spent with family, I guess, and a little more time in the gym and doing other things that will help you achieve those levels that you were describing a while ago.
Most definitely, now is the time to really reset for me and sort of recalibrate.
Well, you've got a lot of fans. You got a lot of people following your career as a fencer. If you were asked by a young person, is fencing good for Filipinas? What is your answer, Juliana?
I'd say yes. Of course, height is a major advantage, but it's not necessary. I think you just need the patience and the mental skill to go one-on-one with someone who's sometimes smarter than you, and you have to. It's kind of like human chess. So if you're patient enough for that, I think that you'll succeed. Filipinos are very smart, and it's why. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think fencing is one of the few sports where Filipinos actually succeed.
I agree with that, and I know that that'll happen.
We actually medal. We actually medal on the world stage.
I'm sure, and I'm sure we will medal with your kind of perseverance and your dedication to your craft. I have no doubt that you will give us the honor that we will all be looking forward to. Juliana, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know it was a bit of a travel for you, but thank you for making time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time.
Thank you. Mga kaibigan, Juliana Gomez, our UAAP fencing champion, and of course, an up-and-coming national athlete na sana po'y abangan natin. I'm sure, with her genes, of course, Kong Goma being her father, and of course, Mayor Lucy being her mom, giving her all the support. I have no doubt that Juliana will go a long, long way pagdating sa fencing competitions. All right, mga kaibigan, at this point, there are some unfinished business na gusto ko po munang daanan. Of course, gusto ko pong pasalamatan lahat na nagpadala ng kanilang kuro-kuro sa ating pinupulsuhan ngayong umaga pong ito, yung sa Pulso ng Bayan. Sino sa tingin nyo ang mananalo sa PBA All-Star Game, Team Scotty or Team Japet? Basahin ko lang yung ibang nagpadala dito po, mga kapatid. Mula kay @food_Martha, Team Scotty for the win. Noon pa man, sobrang hanga na ako sa abilidad niya. At nakikita ko na mas nag-improve pa siya, no? Sabi ni Carlo Pontillas, Team Scotty for the win bilang maganda at ang pinakita ni Scotty sa nagdaang FIBA Qualifiers Cup, paniguradong na may pagpapatuloy niya ang kanyang magandang performance. Mula din kay Sherilyn Patok sa Team Scotty ako kasi iba ang leadership ng isang MVP gaya ni Scotty. Mula kay Christine Omanya, Team Scotty, their team's lineup comprised of some of the best veterans and rising stars. Tingnan natin naman sa larangan po ng Facebook. Marami rin nagpadala sa atin mga kapatid. Ito sabi ni Harold Gramares, ang fans ang tunay na panalo. Thank you PBA sa pagpapatuloy ng All-Star. Felix Alvarez Jr., Team Scotty ang mananalo. Si Eko malalakas na lineup ni Team Japet, unang nakita natin nag-Team Japet. Si Len Castillo, Team Scotty ako. Arnadonio Dominguez, Team Scotty ako dahil magagaling mga players nila. Pero ito po ang ating napili ngayong umagang to. Ang daming nagpadala sa atin sa Facebook at saka sa Twitter. Ang napili po natin ay unang-una from Twitter. Ito po ang kanyang handle, RightSpeedOH, at RightSpeedOH. I think it's Team Scotty because most of its members love running game. All-Star games mostly won by a running and hot shooting team. May analysis siya, no? Hopefully there will be good defense to be more exciting and competitive. Maraming salamat, RightSpeedOH. And ang pangalawa po nating napili ngayong araw pong ito ay mula kay, pakita nga natin, si Len Castillo. Yan, Team Scotty ako, pero ang tunay na panalo ay ang mga fans ng PBA. Makikita pa nila at makakasama ang kanilang favorite team o player sa isang event. Makakatanggap kayo ng message from us, Len, and yung sa Twitter, at makakuha nyo po ang gift certificates mula sa Chooks to Go, ang nag-iisang manok ng bayan. Doon naman po sa ating promo ng Joyride, top-up promo sa Power and Play. Ito po ang mga nanalo ngayong araw pong ito ng 1,000 pesos e-wallet credits. Joel Rael, Melissa Batumbakal, John Zacarias, Queenie Mauti, at si Van Wamina. Again, makakatanggap po kayo ng message mula sa Joyride for your 1,000 pesos JR Pay wallet credits para magamit nyo sa motorcycle taxi deliveries and of course our Joyride car service. Alright, mga kapatid, that'll do it for us this Saturday. Again, puntahan nyo po yung aming nangyayari dyan sa Quezon Memorial Circle, yung relaunching ng 92.8 Radyo 5 True FM. Dito tayo sa totoo. Abangan nyo po, napakaraming mangyayari dyan sa Quezon Memorial Circle. 92.3. Yan. Nadadagdagan ko. 92.3 Radyo 5 True FM. That'll do it for us this morning. Again, nagpapasalamat po kami sa lahat ng ating mga naging panauhin at sa lahat po ng ating nakasama. Lagi po natin sinasabi tuwing Sabado, bawal ang masungit. At sa lahat po ng ating gawain, ad maiorem Dei gloriam, all for the greater glory of God. Kami po ang 1PH Teleserbisyo para sa Pilipino. Susunod na po ang inay ko po. Happy Sports Weekend mga kapatid! More power, more play!
Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, ipagmalaki ang galing na meron tayo. Ilantad ang likas nating talento at magdala ng saya sa mundo. Sa harap ng pagsubok ay di susuko, para sa pangarap tayo'y porsigido. Magpakitang gilas na at magpapatalo, ipagdiwang natin ang Pilipino. Yan ang Pinoy. Mula noon at hanggang ngayon, talento natin ang bida. Mula sa simpleng bakuran hanggang entablado natin ipakita. May pagsubok man ng Pinoy, pinalalakas ng saya. San man tayo sa pulo, Chumbe, Sibay, Lakay, Maniga. Sama-samang pakita ang galing nating katropa. Sa kapwa ko Pilipino, Pilipino, yan ang Pinoy.
Inay ko po.